Wow. So this is a tough episode to record. Now, I mean, this is incredibly sad. I don't even know where to start here, and I'm trying my best to gather my thoughts. I've been sitting with this for a while because I've been trying to figure out exactly what to say, and I haven't quite figured it out. So let me just start by giving a huge thank you to Shaquille Leonard for all he has done for us in his time with the Indianapolis Colts. From the moment Chris Ballard and company drafted Shaquille Leonard in the second round of the 2018 NFL Draft, how much he has meant to not only us, the fan base, watching him, but from what we understand as a teammate, as a leader, and really, mind you, not just like a vocal leader, but led by example. And when your leader is also the best player on your defense, I mean, this is a one-of-one special guy for the Indianapolis Colts, let alone how he ingratiated himself into the community as recently as yesterday with the turkey drive that he completed, having no longer been a part of the roster. He has been everything you want out of a guy and more. And even though we kind of all had the sneaking suspicion that something like this was coming and that this was the inevitable outcome, that doesn't make it any less shocking. One, at least in terms of the timing. And two, it doesn't exactly make it any less devastating. It doesn't make it hurt any less because let's face it, we all love Shaquille Leonard so much as Colts fans. And it had been made abundantly clear by Chris Ballard, by Shane Steichen, by Jim Irsay, by all of them, just how hard Shaquille Leonard had worked just to get back to this point. I mean, from there being rumors to retirement, eerily similar to that of Andrew Luck, for him to get back to the point he was seemed like quite the achievement. And he had been expressing aggravation with his playing time. So the first thing that came to my head when I saw the fact that he was cut by the Colts is I said, oh, he had to have asked for it, right? Because he just wanted to be let loose. He just wanted to be set free. And when I saw that it was not his decision, and on some levels he felt blindsided by this, I mean, my heart sank even more, right? From what we understand, and by what we understand, I mean directly from Shaquille Leonard's mouth, Gus Bradley was going to make him inactive for the rest of the year. Now, save your aggravation on Gus Bradley, save your fire Gus Bradley comments, is not the point of the conversation. The point of the conversation is Shaquille Leonard and this entire situation. And the last time I can think of the Colts doing something like this, where you have a guy that is injured and they actually give up on him. You see, Andrew Luck is the most recent example of something somewhat similar, but the difference between this and Andrew Luck is that Andrew Luck was not given up on by the organization. Instead, Andrew Luck gave up, I suppose, on himself and the game of football, or just really had no more desire to play. But the last time I can think of the Colts doing something like this was when they cut Peyton Manning. Now, Shaquille Leonard hasn't met quite as much to the Indianapolis Colts as Peyton Manning did, but that doesn't mean that Shaquille Leonard isn't one of the greatest Indianapolis Colts I have personally witnessed in my own lifetime. And Peyton Manning ultimately went on to prove the Indianapolis Colts wrong, at least in the near term. Now, when Peyton was cooked, he was cooked, but he did break the single season passing touchdown record as a Denver Bronco. And, it's not that I'm not rooting for Shaquille Leonard to be successful after the Indianapolis Colts, but I suppose it would just hurt. It would just sting even more to watch him come back to all pro form somewhere else. Now, November was the timeline Indianapolis gave us, and we had recently been speaking about when was it that they were going to let him loose, and we were kind of looking at the bye week as that time. And as it turns out, I guess they viewed November as the timeline as to whether or not they thought he would end up ever returning back to form. And apparently, by what we just saw, it seems as if they concluded that he wouldn't. And I mean, there's just not much else to say in terms of the emotional aspect of things, in terms of being a fan. Now, on the football side of things, on the business side of things, there's the harsh reality that this is the right move for the Indianapolis Colts. And also, there may even be the silver lining on the positive side for Shaquille Leonard that it's probably the best move for both sides. I mean, if he's aggravated with playing time, the Indianapolis Colts are certainly not the place that he wants to be. So I want to talk a little bit about the implications of this in a football sense in terms of the team moving forward. And, then I guess we'll move on our merry way. But before we do, I am going to introduce myself on this very somber day to be an Indianapolis Colts fan. My name is Justin. You're listening to the Ride on the Bench Colts cast. As always, I tell anyone listening to this video that is enjoying it, go ahead and shoot it a like. It's going to help me get out to as many Colts fans as humanly possible. If you want to stick around for the journey, subscribe. But most importantly, just enjoy this video to the best of your ability. If you're anything like me, you're having a really, really tough time enjoying this one right now. But as far as what this means for the Colts and why this is a good move for them, you look at the contracts that we have expiring this offseason, right? You got Michael Pittman Jr., you got Grover Stewart. Those two guys, it's going to be hard to justify not giving a contract to. You then pair them with Zach Moss, Garner Minshew, and Julian Blackmon, all expiring as well. And you take into account that the Colts save $12.1 million this year, $19.5 million next year, and $19.7 million in cap space in the year 2025. And from a business perspective, it is hard to argue the fact that this was the right move, particularly when we all know, as much as none of us take any pride in saying it, that Shaquille Leonard has not been the same guy. I mean, here for PFF, take it as you may. Some people like them, some people don't, and they may not be the be-all, end-all for evaluation, but they can certainly get you part of the way there, and then you could use your own, problem-solving skills from there. But listen to this. Pro Football Focus says, from the years 2018 to 2021 of linebackers with minimum 1,000 snaps, which are essentially just linebackers that are playing often, right? Shaquille Leonard was the 5th overall ranked linebacker, 6th overall ranked linebacker against the run, 3rd overall ranked linebacker as a pass rusher, and the 9th overall linebacker in pass coverage. That's per PFF from the years 2018 to 2021. Since 2022, he has been the 81st overall ranked linebacker, 57th against the run, 92nd as a pass rusher, and 79th in pass coverage. So that absolutely supports what all of us have been seeing with our very own eyes, is that this guy is not quite the same as he once was. It's not that he sucks. It's that given the context that he has that big contract, that we've seen him at his peak, it makes it a little bit harder to accept what he's giving us right now. It's kind of the same situation the Cowboys were in once upon a time with Ezekiel Elliott. They paid him to be one of the top 5 running backs in football. When the Cowboys parted ways with Ezekiel Elliott, he was still a productive player. He was still a guy that teams would benefit from having on their roster. Shaquille Leonard, all the same. But it's hard when you're, one, paying a guy that much, and 2, have the memories of his greatness. It's hard on that specific team to move past it when that guy is no longer that person. And The emergence of EJ Speed definitely made this an easier decision for the Indianapolis Colts, and at least as it currently stands with Gus Bradley, most of the time we're running the nickel, which is a 2 linebacker set in many occasions. I mean, how many times do you watch the defense and only see 2 linebackers on the field? So, in terms of the X's and O's this year, this doesn't really move the needle one way or another, which is terrible to say about the great Shaquille Leonard, but it is just the truth. It's kind of hard to argue that if you've been watching. Now, I don't know what else there is to say about this. I'm sure I forgot something. And, I'm sure you guys will let me know about it. I'm curious to hear what you think. Do you have a favorite Shaquille Leonard moment? Do you have an opportunity to thank Shaquille Leonard? Whatever it is about Shaquille Leonard, it's time for us to get a little bit sentimental in the comments section here, because this is a very, very sad day to be a Colts fan. And, I want to share the moment with all of you. So until next time, my name is Justin. This right here was the Ride on the Bench Colts cast. Go Colts.